Hey, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn those notifications on and hit that like button. Nobody starts at the finish line. You have to start somewhere. In order for you to get to where you're going, to meet that destination, you can't think that you're going to get there instantly. Welcome to another episode of the Mr. Mindful Minute podcast, where we touch on different things, on different areas of life, on how you could go from a nothing place to a something place. And today's topic, we are touching on one of my quotes. The love you want should be the love you give. Yes, the love you want should be the love you give. And the reason that we're touching on that today is because sometimes we can easily forget that the very same thing that we're asking for is the very same thing that we may not even be given. Like, we get so wrapped up in this is what I want. But sometimes we forget what it is that we actually have to do. And so we'll start tripping. We'll be mad. Oh, you ain't doing this. Oh, you ain't doing that. Oh, you ain't giving me the energy that I'm giving you. You ain't showing up the way that I'm showing up. You ain't providing the way that I'm providing. And I'm not talking about doing the same exact things. Understand that people may not be doing the very same thing that you're doing or giving the very same thing that you're giving, but they can give the same effort, right? And we get disappointed when we don't feel as though that we're not receiving that same effort that we feel as though that we should get. But the problem is sometimes we be so wrapped up in what it is that we want to receive that we don't give it. Like, for real, like we be tripping on oh man, but I want you to do this for me. And I wish you would act like this. And if you only did this. But when was the last time you did those things? When was the last time that we actually stepped back and looked at the situation and said, okay, this is what I'm asking for, but is this what I'm actually also providing? Because understand, if you are asking for something, you may not be getting it because you are not doing it. So it's a level of reciprocation that needs to be there. And if the reciprocation is not there, that's why it may not happen. So the other person may start to feel as though, oh, I'm not doing this because you're not doing this. How are you asking me to do something that you are not willing to do yourself? And guess what? They may not even actually say these things to us. They may just say it without saying anything. Understand, 80% of conversation is nonverbal. So if you can't read between what's not being said, then you're missing a lot of the conversation that is actually being had without even being said. So I believe that, you unknowingly treat people how you feel inside. That's automatic. I don't care what a person says. If somebody say to me, oh, I don't have no beef towards you, I don't have no negative energy towards you, no nothing. But when I'm around them, they don't really got nothing to say. It's a whole bunch of short words. It ain't no real vibe there, right? The vibe is not there. And understand, I know how I feel. I don't need nobody to validate that. You know how you feel. You don't need nobody to validate that. But what I'm saying is that could be something that is happening. So when we step back and we start to look at, why am I not getting the results that I'm asking for? Why am I not getting the treatment that I feel as though that I deserve or what I want? And I'm not saying that this is 100% all of the time, but what I'm saying is this could be a contributing factor. So when we look at it as, oh man, this could be a contributing factor to why I'm not getting this, right? Whatever this may be, why I'm not getting this, we have to sit back and say, am I doing this? Understand, have the ability to self-assess yourself and ask yourself, am I doing this? Am I really putting in the same effort and the same amount of work that I'm asking somebody else to put in? And they may not be asking you for the same thing, but they may be asking you for the same effort. Could be in a different category, right? Love can be broken down in different categories, right? Understanding love language, right? Some people feel love from gifts of service, right? Some people feel love from acts of service, right? Some people feel love from quality time. Some people feel love from physical touch. And some people feel love from words of affirmation. That's 5 things right there. So you might only be covering 3, and you wondering why you ain't getting something because you missing the other 2. So understand the love that you want should be the love that you give. And understand that the love that you give, it can't necessarily be what it is that you want. It got to be what the other person wants. Because if you loving the other person the way you want to be loved, that may not be how they want to be loved. You might be the kind of person that says, oh, I like gifts. That other person could care less about getting a gift, but they might want you to hold their hand. They might care less about having a hand held, right? But they might want you to help out around the house. They might want you to hold their door open. They might want you to help them get a task done, right? So understand the love that you want has to be the love that you give, and you have to cover these areas, right? Different areas. Learn what these love languages are in order for you to do them, in order for you to receive it also. Because if you are constantly looking to receive, but you are not constantly looking at how you can give, I promise you, you will constantly keep looking and it ain't going to be met. It's not. Like, I can remember a time where I was constantly asking for my wife, hey, could you do this with me? Hey, could you do this a little bit more? Hey, could you do this a little bit more? And guess what? It was stuff that wasn't getting done, and I was getting disappointed, and I was getting mad. Like, yo, why you ain't, I'm already doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I was checking off all the stuff that I was doing, but I wasn't checking off none of the stuff that I wasn't doing. I wasn't giving no attention to the things that I wasn't doing. So once I learned to start giving attention to the things that I was not doing, everything else took off. Because understand, the things that you do is not what's going to be questioned. All the things that you do on a regular, like what you take care of, ain't nobody going to question that because they know you going to do it. They know that it's getting done. It's been happening. What's in question here is the things that you have not been doing. What has not been getting done. So you expecting full effort and full credit, but you only putting in partial effort. Like, how that work? It don't work that way. You can't go to school and be like, oh, I did 80% of my work, but I want to, all 80% of my work is done. 100% is in its A rate. But guess what? That other 20%, I didn't do it. Can I still get the A? No, you can't. Because you still didn't finish, you didn't execute all the other things that needed to be done. So how are you going to get full credit and you didn't do the full work? You didn't do everything that was needed. So you tripping on the fact that you ain't getting this, but you ain't tripping on the fact that you ain't doing something also. So people always say, oh, well, when you pointing the finger at somebody, you got other fingers pointing at you. But if you start looking at the things that you're not doing, because understand what you are not doing is what's in question. It's not what you are doing. Hands down. If you cook, clean, you know what I'm saying? You communicate, you know what I'm saying? But you don't know how to go ahead and take care of business when this business need to get taken care of. If you're a procrastinator, right? If you ain't doing that, it's going to be like, all right, those things that you doing is solid gold. But the stuff that you not doing, guess what? I ain't got no confidence in it. And so now I'm still in I'm in want of the things that you're not doing. And it's not saying that you should just be like, oh, well, I'm going to just focus on the stuff that I'm not doing. And then once I do that, then I can, and then you start not doing the other stuff. Now you're creating a problem. And so when you create a solution, right, but create another problem, that's not a solution. You didn't come up with no problem. You didn't come up with no solution here. All you did was come up with another problem. So how is that going to help you? It's not. And so when you start looking at it in a way of, okay, this is what I'm not doing. So these are the things that I'm going to start working on little by little. Because you can't knock it all out at one time. Why? Because if you knock it out all at one time and then you just be like, all right, I did it. All right, I did it. All right, I did it. Guess what? That ain't in here. It's on the surface. And now that it's on the surface, guess what? It ain't dug deep and you're going to fall back right to what you was already not doing. So again, start looking at the stuff that you're not doing and focus on how you can start making that who you are so you can do it. And now you have an arsenal of things that you do. Now you have a full dimension of all the things that you're actually doing. And you're when you're constantly working on the things that you're not doing, you will continue to get better. You will continue to grow. And now you can't fall into complacency, right? One of the easiest ways to avoid complacency is work on what you're not doing. And so by you working on what you're not doing, then you will not get complacent because it's something else that you're improving on. You're doing something different. So how you can't get complacent with that? It's just not possible. And so even if you are a person that has a skill set, right? You have a skill set and you are good at doing something. You are now working on another skill set and now you're good at multiple things. You see what I'm saying? So now that you're good at multiple things, you can actually continue to grow. You continue to build. And now you'll be able to actually achieve and get the things that you're actually looking for. And here's this, you probably won't even have to ask for it anymore because you'll be getting it now. You understand what I'm saying? Listen to me. You'll be getting it now because it's like, oh, well, I don't have no reason to not do. Look they're doing what they were not doing. So I want to do now. I want to do more. And so that's going to help you. So here's some of the tips, right? 3 steps that you can actually take in order for you to get the love that you want, right? Because the love that you are actually showing, right? 3 tips. So tip number 1, Stop feeling entitled. Like, one of the reasons why you or we may not do certain things is because we feel entitled to it. Like, we be on some, no, I deserve this. No, I should be getting this. And look, I ain't about to tell you that you don't deserve it, right? But what I'm saying to you is, when you approach stuff with the entitled boy, then the other person gonna be on some, all right, okay, and yeah, you doing X, Y, and Z. And because when people feel as though you're acting entitled, they feel as though that you're being arrogant. Hands down. They feel like you being arrogant. Like, you ain't not, they like, look, I ain't doing that. Look at how you acting. You entitled? I'm a person. So don't approach me with that, oh, well, you go and do this for me, or you supposed to do this with your chest out. Male or female, it doesn't matter, because the shoe go on both feet. It doesn't matter if it's a female, it doesn't matter if it's a male. You can feel entitled and understand that entitlement mentality may come from childhood. It may come from how you was raised as a child. You might have felt entitled as a child and your parents raised you that way, right? Like, oh, well, I'm going to give you. And so you start, as an adult, you start feeling as though people supposed to just give you. And, oh, I may not have to do nothing for it. And guess what? Even if I am doing something, this is what I'm supposed to get in return, and not understanding the things that you're doing. You should be doing them out of want, out of love, and not for what you can get out of it. So understand, getting rid of that entitlement mentality will help you to actually get the love that you want, because the love that you'll actually be showing. And so the next step that we actually have to start taking when we're trying to go from a nothing place to a something place, right? We actually have to start saying to ourselves, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Because at the end of the day, how can you change anything below the surface when you're not looking at what you're doing wrong or what you're not doing? So when you continue to look at that and you continue to ask that question, you continue to self-evaluate, then now you'll be able to start making that real hard work and actually start putting in the steps that you can actually take place so you can continue to grow, right? And also now you can start getting the results that you want to get, because you're constantly working to improve. You're asking yourself, what am I not doing? What am I doing wrong? So now, when you go back to the drawing board, 2 plus 2 always equals 4. But if you don't know how to make 2 plus 2 equal 4, you'll always get 5, right? So if nobody showed you, right? If you didn't look at the diagram and say, okay, this is what I'm not doing. That's why when you were in school, they asked you, hey, I need you to show the work. That way, if you do something wrong, or if it's something that you're not doing, I can show you where you went wrong at, so you can fix it. And now you can get the right answer. Now you can get the result that you want. Because I believe that when you know how to fix something is when you are actually good at it. It ain't no rocket science behind this. Like, if you took your car to the mechanic and you was like, hey, look, this is what's wrong. The mechanic know how to fix it. That's what he knows what he's doing. But if you take your car to the mechanic and he say, all I know how to is remove and replace. I don't know how to fix what's there, so I don't have to replace it. It could just be something that's broken and he could just boom, fix it together and now it's straight. But when you know how to fix something that is messed up or wrong, that's when you know what you're doing. So the next step, right? Step number three, the things that you actually have to do. Focus on. Listen to me. Non-preferred task. Understand what that means. Non-preferred task is the things that you like, oh, it ain't that deep. It's not that important. It ain't that serious to me. Right? You know, a lot of times the non-preferred tasks be the things that we look at as non-essentials. Like, oh, I don't really got to do that. Oh, that ain't really that important. Guess what? It ain't that important to you, but it might be that important to somebody else. So by performing the non-essential task, doing the stuff, because we be so caught up on I need to take care of this, what's important. I need to take care of this right here. That's major. I got to get this done right here, right now. This has to get done. But what about those minor non-essential tasks that it ain't like gonna kill nobody if it don't happen, but what it could do is make somebody feel neglected? See, it's the non-essential tasks that make people say, man, that's that small thing. That's where that come from. People saying, oh, the little things count. Listen, I always say every little bit helps. So understand, by doing those non-essential tasks, by doing those small little gestures, right? Those are the things that are actually going to help you get the love that you want, because the love that you are showing is the things that is important to somebody else. You giving them what it is that not only what they want, but also what they need at the same time. Because in our minds, for us, we may say, oh, I don't need that. Oh, this is how I operate. That don't mean that's how the other person operate. That ain't how the other person kind of do things. So understand, once you start working on those non-essential tasks, and what could the non-essential tasks be? Like, the non-essential task could easily be communication. The non-essential task can easily be, how was your day? Oh, anything been on your mind lately? Was it something that you was afraid to talk to me about? Look, and you thought that I was going to trip? Look, let's have an open discussion. On a scale of 1 to 10, have I been making you feel loved within this last month? What could I do to improve to make us better? Non-essential task, communication, right? And guess what? Communication is major, right? But the non-essential tasks is those little questions, those questions that you may be asking, that you're not asking. So you asking those questions that you're not normally asking, that could be a non-essential task, because you like, I don't need to ask that. What I need to ask that for? For what? I'm making sure they cool. I ask them this, I ask them that. I ask them how their family doing. You ask them all the very important things. Do I make you feel loved? Look, that's one of the questions, right? Another non-essential task, right? Non-essential task could be, hey, do you feel as though that I still put an effort into my appearance to make you feel attracted to me? Non-essential tasks, we might just be on some, I'm gonna wear my sweatpants all the time. You know what I'm saying? I wash up, but I ain't doing nothing to make you feel that attraction for me. I ain't doing anything to make you feel, to make you want to come closer to me. Am I doing that? Are you doing that? Are we doing that? Right? Doing those non-essential things that we think are not that important. But could it be that important to somebody else? It could very well could be. So understand, once you start focusing on what's important to them, which is a non-essential task for you, right? I promise you things will go to the next level. So understand, the love you want should be the love you give. Remember, you're great. Greatness is within you. I'm Mr. Mindful Minute. Go be great. So now we are getting into my segment of one of my moments, right? And so one of my moments that I was having was, I remember this time I was going to the third grade, right? And I'm going to third grade. And it's crazy that I remember this. And when one of my best friends, I get to this class, and him and another guy, just kids just being kids. I didn't even know these guys. They ended up jumping me, right? We in school, we outside playing, and they jumped me, right? Crazy story is, he's one of my best friends to this day. We had that fight, and I don't know what it is about boys, and maybe it's a territorial thing or something. I don't know, right? But what I do know is, we fought, and we ended up becoming best friends to this day, right? Friendship going on well over, I'm gonna say 20 something years, right? And so I just want to help you to understand that even though you may have a falling out with somebody at one period in your life, that doesn't mean that they are not worthy of having you in their life. So if you can, do what you can to form a bond, right? A friendship that will be long lasting. Have a relationship with somebody. Have fellowship with somebody. And because the more that y'all communicate, the more that y'all will be stronger, right? The more that y'all will be solid. And so understand, this was my...
You're in control of how you feel. You're in control. You are the determining factor of your feelings. No one else can control how you feel. Remember, you're in control of how you feel. So control your feelings.